It's interesting that they're not talking about the stock market. They're not talking about, you know, the goings on, the housing crash, the recession. No, he's talking about all of this is shifting and changing for a reason, for a purpose. And there's also going to be a lot of changes energetically on the planet, including within each of us. So that's really fascinating. He's talking about that saying, you know, no news is good news. Whereas this upcoming year is just going to be a steady stream of one thing after another. 2023 is going to be, as we might describe it, hectic. That's what he's saying. I hope you guys are ready to have a little bit of fun today. I am, and I'm really excited to bring forward Archangel Gabriel. Some people will say that Gabriel is more feminine, and some will see him or experience him more masculine. Sex doesn't really matter. What matters is the channeled message. So the way that I notice Gabriel is more masculine, but other people might notice him more feminine, and either way, it makes no mind. It really doesn't. Okay. I'm going live in my group, Intuitive Angel Messages, through Facebook. So if you'd like to come join us, we love going live and having fun at least once a week. So this live is stemming from a moment where I was walking along the beach and I noticed a massive amount of energy passing through my body, and multiple chakra centers were opening and firing up more than they normally do. And then I came to realize that myself and a friend of mine were surrounded by Archangel Gabriel. So it was his way of getting our attention, to communicate with us and through us. And I thought, oh, he's coming through really strong. And it's always in this one location by the ocean, right on the beach. That's where he's kind of set up shop. I don't know if you want to call it like a portal where he just comes and goes. But that seems to be where he is. Whereas Archangel Metatron is coming through a park. And each of these areas I have filmed and I have placed into the Mediumship for Beginners course material. So one interesting thing that has happened with Archangel Gabriel's energy coming through the video that I filmed and I placed into the course is one of the students, Robin, has had really severe health issues. She's not been able to really leave her home for a number of years. So if she goes outside, she gets into her car, she has the filter put on, she gets back into her house ASAP. She doesn't stay out for very long. So she's basically been housebound or captive in her home. And so I did not see this coming, but when she was taking the last Mediumship for Beginners course 7 months ago, she was watching the video that I did where I was filming Archangel Gabriel. And I'm asking everyone to sit and relax and relay in the comments what Gabriel's doing with you. Where is he taking you? Yada, yada, yada. So she did this, and he started to work on her very intensively. And he said that he's even still working on her for the next upcoming year. So he's going to be working with her and on her. Her energy came down to the beach where he is located. And he brought her energy into the ocean for clearing. And he's asked her to go down by bodies of water in the future where he will be working with her. But the really interesting thing has happened since then. 8 years of severe allergies to dust, pollen, being outside, period, and being housebound no more. Since she took the Mediumship for Beginners course and he's begun working on her, she's able to leave the house. So I'm just dumb. I'm just really shocked by it. And that's like the best thing that I've heard all year, that she's now able to leave the house. And the other thing I've noticed is she has a lot more color in her face. She's like way more vibrant. She has way more energy. I mean, you can just see it. It's very palpable. And it's just been wonderful. It really has been. I'm just really happy about it. So...
Well, I only started channeling since I started listening to your YouTubes and I started taking your classes.
Wow.
But I guess as an avid book reader and, you know, as a young adult and a child, I guess that was always a strong suit of mine. So I guess they just played off of it.
That's amazing. That's awesome. You know, when I offer these kinds of things, I never have that idea that someone's going to just, you know, have just step off and move in such a direction so quickly and have
Well,
it so
that's exactly
official.
how it happened.
It's
It
just
like literally
amazing.
1 minute was off, like the rest of my life before this, and then the next minute it was on, and that was I couldn't switch
Just
it
go.
off.
Yeah. Especially the connections that you had with the courses, the Mediumship for Beginners course, and like all you guys getting together. And then when Robin told me that, you know, she's had a massive healing since that course, and now she has her life back and she can go outside and she's not hiding indoors away from severe allergens that were affecting her
Life
so intense.
changing doesn't even cover it.
No. You know what I noticed? I told her this. I said, I noticed she has way more color in her face. She just feels she's glowing more.
She glows with light. She
Yeah,
really does.
it's absolutely jaw dropping. When she told me that, I said, this just makes my whole, not just my whole year, this just makes it for me, period. Like entirely. Yeah, that was amazing.
Yep.
You don't
Sure.
expect these kinds of things. You hope and pray for these kinds of things.
Yes.
But when
Yep.
they start happening and people tell you, you're just like amazed by it. So, Gabriel, does anybody remember how he describes himself? Like, you have Archangel Raphael for healing, you have Archangel Michael for protection if you need it, and watching over Earth. You also have Archangel Metatron, who watches over Earth and each of the star seeds. He's really focused in on the star seeds on Earth that really need extra assistance. And what does Archangel Gabriel do? I know if you guys asked me this question a few years ago, I would have been like, I don't know. I don't know what he does. Does anybody remember me channeling that guidance? What does he do? Does he do little parlor tricks in the corner? Does he do tap dancing? Let me know in the comments. Here we go. Gabriel is the archangel of communication, is he not? Boy, he sure loves to communicate, I'll tell you that. So that's one way we could describe him. The way that he's described as himself is the catch-all archangel. So he's willing to help anyone with anything at any time. You call on Gabriel and he will come. And he doesn't, yeah, he's an all-rounder. There you go, Emma. He's an all-rounder, okay? He doesn't hold back. So if you start asking Gabriel for help, get ready to friggin' rumble. There's a video that I did with a friend of mine on my YouTube channel about 3 years ago. And she came to me and she's like, I don't feel good. It's been 4 months. I went to the doctor. I feel like my energy is being siphoned from me. I feel lethargic and tired and fatigued, and I can barely get up and go to work. The doctors don't know what's wrong with me. And so I just sense the energy. I go, this isn't anything wrong with you physically. You've got someone working with you. You're not listening to him, and now he's making you slow down. I said, did you ask Archangel Gabriel to help you? And she said, yeah, I did. I said, there we go. So when I channeled him, it was a matter of, she asked him to help her with her career, her job, her energy, multiple other things. So when he was trying to steer her in a certain direction, she just wasn't going to listen. She's like, oh, I'm still going to work and I'm still going to do me. I've asked for help, but I don't care. I'm not listening. And Gabriel doesn't work like that. So be ready to rumble if you ask Gabriel to help you. He started to siphon the energy out of her chakra centers. So he was slowing her down. He was making her rest. He was making her miss work some days. He was making her have naps, go to bed earlier. So that was 4 months of that. Okay. So she still carried on with work, I believe, for another 4 to 6 months, but she went in a lot less. She was doing hours like 70 hours a week, and she had 2 little kids, and he was like, this is the direction. And she just wasn't willing to listen. Sometimes the direction can be very drastic. So, you know, and the moments that I've worked with Gabriel, he'll come in so hot and heavy. He's like, you know, there have been moments where I have a pause in the reading because he comes in so intensively, and the person's like, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm okay. But he's trying to get my attention to relay a message to the person that I'm channeling for, right? So he can be really intense. Get ready to rumble. Yeah. And, you know, sometimes when things are happening to us and we're like, man, this is the worst thing ever. And trust me, I've had this for lengthy periods of time in my life. And when you look to your guardian angels, or you look to Gabriel, or you look to Archangel Michael, everyone's really calm. Everybody's really relaxed. And they're just trying to keep you uplifted while you're going through it the best that they can. But everybody's really chill, and they're just watching and waiting as this all unfolds. And you're like, hey, WTF? What the heck? But what it really comes down to is, not always are you going to have the easy stuff happen to have the transition needed in your life. It's not always going to be cupcakes and rainbows. So, you know, just get prepared for that. And some of the toughest changes, health issues, work career path changes lead you to some of the most beautiful paths. But you can't quite see it maybe in the beginning, but trust that you're being steered in this direction for a reason. As I would hear Jesus often say, The most beautiful, multifaceted diamonds in the world started out as a piece of coal put under pressure. So yes, sometimes we're going to be put under a little bit of pressure, okay? So I thought that I would just let him go ahead and relay the message as to what he wanted me to hear this day as I was walking along the ocean. And I'm just going to channel him word for word and let him take the reins. Ready? Thank you, everyone. Thank you, dear one. So he's thanking you. Now he's looking to me and thanking me with the eye contact. I am the one you know as Archangel Gabriel. Blessed be, dear ones. Blessed be. Many changes are afoot here on earth, and there are many more changes yet to come. This is a period of drastic, fast-paced, he's doing this drastic, fast-paced change on earth. And part of these changes you may not see with your physical eyes. You may not notice at all. And some of these changes are energetic or vibrational changes here, sweeping across the earth, sweeping across the plains of the earth, the surface of the earth. There we go. And deep within the earth. Okay. These are changes that are affecting you mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, energetically, however which way you wish to see it or view it. Ascension symptoms for those who are sensitive and notice will be going on the rise, upticking. Okay, lightheadedness, nausea. You'll notice your crown chakra opening significantly and all other chakras opening significantly. There will be an increase of inflow of energy pooling here to Earth in order to help us all. Now, what does that mean for you moving forward? Okay, the old ways, the low vibrational ways, won't be able to stick or last. Low vibrational thoughts, low vibrational viewpoints, low vibrational belief systems. It's best to release and let these go, or you will notice more of an intensive kickback from these thought forms, from these belief systems that are no longer serving you or humanity. He's got like a happiness look in his eyes. So he's like happy about these changes. These changes are swift and drastic, but greatly needed. And we feel that humanity is ready at this point for these changes here upon the earth plane. So he's now doing all is good. It's, as Kristin says, it's all good. Know that you can handle anything that is presented to you. All right, he says he's ready to take your questions. So if you want to go ahead and type a question in the comments area, we can go ahead and touch base on the answer from Gabriel, okay? So it's interesting that they're not talking about the stock market. They're not talking about, you know, the goings on, the housing crash, the recession. No, he's talking about all of this is shifting and changing for a reason, for a purpose. And there's also going to be a lot of changes energetically on the planet, including within each of us. So that's really fascinating. He's talking about that saying, you know, no news is good news. Whereas this upcoming year is just going to be a steady stream of one thing after another. 2023 is going to be, as we might describe it, hectic. That's what he's saying. Okay. Okay, Babette is saying sometimes she has thoughts about moving to another country. Should she? He says the idea of something versus the reality of it can be quite different or quite contrasting. What he suggests is that you head off to the country of choice and spend, 2 weeks to a month there and immerse yourself into the surrounding goings on. So you're not there as a tourist, but you're there as you're doing the things that the locals do. That's what he recommends. And sometimes we might think about moving to a different country and all that it entails. He says, so basically, I think what he's saying there is that it's not like it's just going to be an easy adjustment. There are a lot of things that need to transpire in order to move to another country, unless it's made easy for you by having, being able to apply for a dual citizenship or a citizenship based upon your lineage. But what he's saying is that, there's cultural differences, a lot of paperwork involved, a lot of shifts and transitions. You know what he's saying? And why would you, when you live in what Spirit would deem as one of the best countries in the world? And those of you who live in your country may not see it this way, but when we look at the goings on around the planet, it is one of the best countries in the world. So give that some thought, he says. Okay. Whew, he's really blunt on that one. That's interesting, isn't it, Babette? Okay. All right. Faith is saying, I'm curious to know if Archangel Gabriel is guiding me at this time. I feel excited for my future. Like something good is coming, and I usually only interact or feel drawn to Archangel Michael as far as the archangels go. Me too, by the way, me too. Usually it's always Michael, but there are times where I'll walk by that area and he will be like, time for us to chat and have a word. So yes, he is guiding you. Yes, he is working with you. Yes, he is around you. And he's working in tandem with Archangel Michael and many others in order to help steer the ship. And he says this with a smile on his face. So he's excited too. He's helping to steer the ship. There's two things that they're working on you in specifically. One is trust, and the second is courage. Doing what many won't do or refuse to do. But they feel that you have the strength within you, and the wits, the intelligence to do it. Isn't that fascinating? So you have certain characteristics that they feel will be of benefit on this path moving forward, and you're greatly needed. You're greatly desired by Spirit to step forward on this path, even if it is on the side, part-time, a few hours a week. Go forth. Go forth. He's saying it again. Go forth. All right. All right. Mimi has been dealing with high blood pressure with heart and head and heart pressure due to work stress these 6 months, but I'm wondering if the pressure is chakras opening. I'm feeling a lot of growth spiritually and not sure where I should be heading in my path. It's like he's conferring with your team. I'm like waiting and I don't hear anything. And he's like kind of, his attention is somewhere else. So I know he's conferring. He's conferring or conversationing with your team. Shift in career, moving in a different direction. Good, good, good. Okay, so that's good. That's perfect. And they're giving me both. Some things aren't worth it. Okay, you put all your time and all your energy and all your effort into these career paths, and at times they create such havoc in the body and such stress. For what? You are moving in the right direction, and the right direction is elsewhere. They're showing me any issues that you're having in your physical vessel, shifting, changing, change of tide, getting better, moving in a healthier direction, a better path. Now they want to talk about the mind. So we've just talked about the physical body, and now they're moving to your mind. Please do not overthink, overanalyze things. Sometimes we can take something that's smaller and we can balloon it up in our mind, and we can overthink it and overanalyze it, and just like take it until like in the head. Okay. And they're talking about bringing in more consciousness into you, bringing in more awareness, so that your mind and your thoughts don't just go and float around, and your mind just kind of takes off and you're not even aware that your mind is just going. Are you willing to allow them to help steer the ship just a bit in order for you to become more grounded, with more clarity and more awareness, so that you are not running amok in your mind as often? They're not expecting you to go from here to there overnight, but we're going to gradually start moving you in this direction. Okay? And they feel that you need help. They, meaning your guardian angels, who are conferring with Gabriel, and Gabriel's hanging back behind me, and your guardian angels are coming in and conversing with me. They feel that you need help with that. So if you want that help, okay, you can just say, yes, please. And anybody else who would like this help, you can also say, yes, please, to your guardian angel as well. Okay? I've done this a long time ago. I asked my guardian angel to help me with my thoughts and my overthinking, lack-minded, low vibrational thought patterns. And she still helps me to this day. And I'm very thankful for it. They don't want you to worry about what's going on physically. It's going to shift and move in a better direction. It's what's happening mentally. Okay. All right. Perfect. Sometimes we just have to ask, what else do you want help with? What else do you want to talk to them about? What else do you want to add to your list? Start asking them right now. Love that, Emma. So let's ask that question. Is Archangel Gabriel a part of Emma's pack? What's the answer? There you go. There you go, Faith. That's what it is. You know, when you're asked to make big shifts like that, Faith, it's like, it depends on how bad things are right now. Because usually when things are really bad, that's when we reach for a better feeling place. That's when we're willing to step outside the box. We're willing to try something different. We're willing to face the fear and do something else. We're ready to, things have to get worse before they get better sometimes. So when you look at what's happening on the planet right now, things have to get bad before you're willing to step outside the box. And when I started this path, things were bad, like as bad could be. Okay. So like I was moving into my 40s, my body was starting to shut down. I couldn't keep up with the house cleaning company that I had. My joints, my knuckles, my knees, my elbows, everything was aching every day. My back, my spine, my neck had been out for 5 years in chronic pain. And not only that, but I was suffering the first real intensive flare-up I had had since having my large intestine removed, except the flare-up was now affecting me in my throat, down my esophagus to my stomach and into my spleen. So I was dragging myself across the floor every day. And it amazed me that people were willing to pay me to sit with them, to be the translator of the non-physical messages from spirit to help them. And I was making at that time the same amount of money I would make if I had cleaned an entire home for an hour. So to me, that was amazing. So how bad did things have to be? Pretty friggin' bad. Plus, I promised them that, and I promised myself that I wouldn't operate in fear. So if they were going to steer me in this direction, I was going to go. And you look at just how that's impacted and affected so many people's lives because I chose to face the fear and do it anyways. I'm really proud of myself. I think that I have done a lot that I never in a million years would have dreamed of doing. The amount that I've done in the last 6 years, is far more than I ever could have imagined. It's more than I've done in my entire lifetime combined. So you got to look at just how you can impact and affect and help other people's lives in a huge, monumental way. Okay? Does Archangel Gabriel have any advice in my job? There's been a lot of barriers in providing foster care to refugee youth. I bet there has been. It's really about patience. Patience. It's when us as a first world country are not as trusting of others and we're going through a very difficult time on earth, and then we're asked to foster others and take care of others, many of us feel as though we're already at the max. We're already tapped out. Like we just can't take on anymore. So they'd like you to be patient while this shift and transition takes place through your country and so many others. It won't last forever. The dust will settle and there will be an easing back where things settle into more normality, and then you will notice more doors open to you. But for right now, it is just being patient and doing the best we can. And it's also about asking those who are willing to step forward and help to maybe take on a little bit more. Can you house another refugee? Can you help out a little bit more with your time? Okay. All right. So Emma, the answer I get is yes. All right. Adonis struggling with parenting. Any advice for each child or especially your oldest? Okay, so the first thing I get is, are you holding your own, Madonna? Are you holding your own? Especially with indigo kids. Good luck if you don't hold your own. Okay? If you don't hold your own, you're like pretty much going to get walked all over. Okay? And you won't be listened to. Okay? It's like if you go along and you see something, but you don't follow it up with the action behind it, and if you don't do that long enough, then more of the feisty, free-willed souls, like indigos coming into physical vessels as our children, they're just going to not listen more than ever before, and they're just going to go off and do their own thing, and they're not going to respect us either. Okay. I watched my mother go through it. Okay. And I was the only indigo. And surprisingly, my two sisters who were blues were putting her through the ringer harder than me, which was surprising. And I mean, I remember my mom going for counseling with parents in group counseling sessions, talking about how hard things were. Okay. And getting guidance. And they're saying that that would be good for you. They're saying yes repeatedly and pointing at you, getting some guidance and some counseling. But if you allow others to walk all over you, you allow them to give like just a friggin' like a little centimeter to an inch, they will take a mile. And there's this feeling like this younger generation has no concept of what working hard is, or having to step up to the plate, or and in a lot of ways they're not meant to, because many are open and sensitive, and spirit does want them to be taken care of. But when they have no concept and their maturity lags behind, and they don't mature more rapidly, like my generation, you were out the door, you were working, you know, but this generation is vastly different, and the world is vastly different. You know, good luck getting out the door and getting a job at 17 and living on your own is like, good luck with that. You have to really be a innovator, think outside the box, and you're just going to have to fight tooth and nail to do whatever it took to make that happen. You're probably going to have roommates, and you're going to have to make it work. And you're going to have the drive and the wherewithal to make it work. But what I'm getting here is this generation is lagging in maturity. So what we were doing for, you know, as far as maturing by a certain age, they're going to be doing it later on in life. Don't let them walk all over you like a doormat. And they know that's easier said than done. You need to sit down with others who can counsel you and give you guidance, and then follow through with that guidance. Those who have been through it, okay, and they can say, this has worked and this will work for you, and then you try it. Okay, and that's all they want to say. So let me know in the comments if that's resonating with you. All right. Your team was really blunt. It's like really blunt. Like, holy moly. All right. Very direct. All right. Alana says, I feel like I have some deep-seated blockages from this life and possibly past lives. I have visions or ideas of what spirit wants me to do career-wise. I find it hard to start these things and finish them. What are some things I can do? You know what's interesting? So many people will come to me for readings and they'll say, I think I've got blockages. I think I'm blocked. I think I'm paying karmic debt. I'm worried about the karma. And when I check in with spirit, the number one thing they'll say to me is, when you're here on earth right now and we have the ascension path happening on earth, we don't have to think about karma because everything is being transmuted into the light, not just in this lifetime, but in all lifetimes. So as far as karmic debt is concerned, no one here has ever said, oh, you better watch out for that karmic debt. It's the opposite. We don't have to think about that. It's all getting naturally, automatically transmuted into the light. Okay. And the thing that we can do that is best in order to step aside and allow this to continue is to look after our bodies, our vessels, eating high vibrational foods, having high vibrational content, high vibrational friends, and keeping your vibrational frequency, your thoughts, okay? Your focus, what you're focusing on, what you're noticing, where's your mindset going, keeping it more in a high vibrational direction. And if you can't necessarily do that as much as you'd like to, then it's like more rest, more relaxation, more decompressing, and that just allows you to step back long enough for them to get in and do the work that needs to be done in transmutation. But if you're focused and heavy thoughts and worrying and you're watching the news, you're not going to stop them from helping you, but you are going to put up a little bit of an energy barrier, okay? It's not going to be as easy for them. And as far as blockages are concerned, it's a rare time when I see somebody that literally has, for example, she's probably going to watch this video. I had a reading with a lady recently, and she said, I have phobias and I'm fearful of leaving the house. And it's the weirdest thing. I have fear of pets and animals. And when I see a cat, I see like a tiger type creature. And when I looked into it, it was multiple lifetimes as she is incarnated on earth where animals have chased her down and killed her. So there was one with a saber-toothed tiger and huge cat and coming at her. So that one was warranted. But how often do I hear that? How often do I hear that someone has blockages? It's not that often. Sometimes I feel that we think we have blockages, therefore we create that. So let's tap in. What are some things I can do? Things he can do? Am I on the right path with my crystal, with your crown chakra? I'm assuming you're asking. Okay. So with Alina, it's ungroundedness. It's not blockages. Okay. So when you're ungrounded, and this stems from your incarnations prior to Earth, if we want to look at linear time, and so where you've been off Earth in other vessels is vastly different than here. So when you come to Earth, now your energy is in this vessel. And sometimes it doesn't want to be in this vessel. It kind of hangs outside the vessel. And of course, if we're consuming a lot of sugar, a lot of caffeine, if we're hanging around ungrounded people, and if we just let our minds run amok and we're just like, when you grow up, you think your thoughts are you. And then as you get older, you realize you are the still observer of what you house in your mind and what thoughts come up, and you are that conscious observer. You are consciousness, okay? You are not your thoughts. And you get to pick and choose what goes on in here. It's really about grounding your energy steadily. So if you're inside all the time, you're on your laptop, you're in front of the TV all the time, chances are you're going to be even more ungrounded. So it's really about going outdoors. And I see you at the base of trees. So you're walking amongst the trees. Maybe you're sitting with your back against the tree. And I see you drinking spring water, and a lot of spring water. So if you're drinking tap water, no more. It's been 15, 16 years of hearing angels tell me not to drink tap water. And the tap water will also help to ground you and create an alkaline vessel, high vibrational vessel. Everything we eat and everything we drink carries a vibrational frequency. So they like you to drink spring water, at least 8 glasses a day. And now they're laughing and kind of chuckling about that. And I don't know why. Like maybe you don't drink that much water, or you don't like water, you don't want to drink water. I mean, you look at my Nana, she never drank water. My uncle never drank water. But when you go to pick up your uncle's pop cans of Diet Pepsi with aspartame in it, and you're like, how long did it take you to drink these 100 cans? And he says, oh, about 13 days. I'm like, what the? Is there anything else that she needs to hear at this time? No. No. All right. So we're going to take a couple more questions here. Rosanna's asking, she's wondering if there are any specific books he recommends for helping her guide. Okay. She's feeling quite lost right now. All right. He's reaching his hand out to you. He's extending his arm and his hand out to you. I see his hand on your left shoulder. He says, I will steer and guide you, should you wish, dear one. He's smiling, but at the same time, he's really serious in the eyes. Get ready to rumble. You are gonna get it. Okay. Is there any reading material? He's talking about Journey of Souls by Michael Newton. And then the second one, he has a second one after that book. He's also talking about Angels in My Hair. It's interesting. He wants you to read this type of material of others' experiences with the supernatural or with the energy on the other side of the veil. He wants you to read other people's experiences to keep the spark alive, to crack you open further, to bring in more consciousness. Where you live, not many are interested in this. Others are focused in other directions, vastly different than this. He's really happy that you have this space to participate with me and with others in. And he's really proud of you for being here, because there are many in your local area that wouldn't be interested in this at all. That's what matters most at this time. Give him some time to help steer your ship. That's what he's saying, okay? All right, Holly, here we go. Did Archangel Gabriel come to you with a message of discernment a couple weeks ago? If so, what was the message? It wasn't him. That's the first thing I'm getting. What I get is that it's source, light and love, God, universal oneness, Allah, whatever you want to call this energy. It's reaching out and communicating and connecting through you. And what I'm getting with this is, it's like, just wait and see. Allow me to guide you. You'll see when the time comes. You know, when you go about and you have like a moment of like, oh, you remember bits and pieces of something that was shared to you I think people call it deja vu or something. So it'll be like that. You're going to have a piece of whatever is happening that seems very familiar to you, or information that was given to you, and then it's happening in the moment, and you're remembering that this is the moment that is to take place and exist. This is the moment that is to be highlighted for a reason and a purpose. And please don't worry about the goings on behind the scene. You are just fine, and you will be fully taken care of as you proceed forward into the future. And it's like whichever path you take. However, Source has a very specific path, and Source isn't telling me this. I can just see it. And this path, which is interesting, usually I'll see it lit up with white, or most of the time I'll see it lit up in gold. But what I'm seeing is a path that looks rose gold, like that beautiful, beautiful rose gold color. It's uplifting. It's got more feminine energy coming from it. I'm also getting Christ consciousness energy with it. So wild. I've never seen that before. You know, when you go through life, and I've been like this too, you don't wear dresses, you don't wear super feminine stuff or feminine colors, and you just kind of hunker down, and you kind of tap more into the masculine, and you are so used to toughening up and bucking up in life that you don't tap into that beautiful feminine energy that comes to the forefront. This is what's going to be blossoming and coming to the forefront in the future on this path. And if I was a betting woman, which I am, you guys would think I play the lotto all the time, which I don't. I always say that. But what I'm seeing here is that Source is going to make sure that you take this path. Because the other path is kind of like, yeah, I'm still doing the same old. The lack of luster in this path is dwindling, and it's almost like the path narrows and becomes kind of gray and not nearly as attractive as this path. And it's still rose gold. You'll see when the time comes. And the other reason why they're not relaying more to you is because they don't want you overthinking and overanalyzing it and worrying about it as they release you from this current path or trajectory that is no longer working for you or serving you or your highest and best good. Well, that couldn't be more direct, could it? Whoa. All right. Okay. Awesome, Madonna. You have considered counseling. Yep. You need to tap in with other parents that have gone through the ringer and turned it around and can show you how to do it. Okay. They walk all over you. Yeah. That's exactly what's happening. And it's going to be one long ass life if you continuously let people walk all over you. Not only with your kids. It's going to be really a drag. So you need to go find counseling with other parents that have stepped up to the plate, and they're going to show you how to step up to the plate so that you don't let people walk all over you. Okay? It's not where you start, it's where you finish. I just heard that. It's not where you start, it's where you finish. And then the joke after this with laughter is, but in truth, there is no end to parenting. But the end goal is to rise above these challenges and hold your own so that they think twice before trying it on with you again. And this is going to take a lot of change and a lot of wherewithal, and you just holding it down. And if that doesn't work, because this has been so ingrained for so long, you're basically just looking at when are they going to move out to have some normalcy and some peace in your life once again. The oldest moving out, yes. The other two, you can still turn things around, and they're not as intensive or severe with them yet. And I don't think that they will be as intense or as severe, even at their worst, as your eldest is, from what I'm getting. And I'm getting a thumbs up on that. But you don't want to keep carrying this cycle between you and them going on and on and on and on for years to come. No. I'll tell you this. When I grew up, it was somewhat similar. My mom would hold her own at times, but things got out of hand with my younger sister, and she had to be forcibly removed from the home. I was always defending my mom, and my sister was always attacking both of us. And then it came to a head one night. So in came the police and removed her. So social workers came. The best thing my mom ever did was put me in counseling. And it was at the local church, which I was like, okay. But the counselor, oh man, you get in front of the right people and they will rock your world like there's no tomorrow. But it's getting the right person. It's getting the right people. But she, this woman, she grew up and she contracted polio. So she had one shoe bigger than the other, and she always walked with a limp. And like life was a struggle. It was day in and day out struggle for her. So when she came to me, I was just like fighting. And they're like, okay, we're going to ask your mom to leave the sessions. So my mom didn't come back to the counseling sessions. So they focused in on me because I was willing to listen and learn. And it was the first time I felt like I was happy in like years at that time with how they helped me. And it was just a massive change in me. And I still remember her to this day. And I don't think she's still alive. She was donating of her free will time to counsel people. And I thank her to this day. So she explained how it was all working in my family, you know, how it was working. It was like a triangle, okay? Me, my sister, my mom, and how things would be handled in the future. And anything that I complained about or was throwing at her, she would just take it calmly and break it apart so I could see it from a broader perspective. And it just did wonders. Best thing my mom ever did for me. Best thing ever. And so my sister moved back in 8 months later. She went for counseling as well. But I think that I had the biggest impact based on the counselor that I went to and the willingness to learn and grow. Because I was willing. I'm always wanting to move into a better feeling place. I don't like laying in the mud for long. Even if life is as tough can get, I always want to get back up and move into a better feeling place. So I'm always willing to do and take the action steps to make that happen. And people walking all over me, it ain't going to happen. And I don't care who they are. All right. That's my little pep talk for today, Madonna. Emma, your son is 6 and he is an indigo. Good luck. And he has a friend called Joseph. Should you worry? Oh, is Joseph a little bit fiery and does Joseph act up a bit? I don't see your son being more passive than Joseph. Whoa. I don't get this being a long-lasting friendship. It's like it's going to fade out of your son's life. It's just not going to be a vibrational match. And your son's not going to be keen to hang out or hang out with him as much. That's what I'm receiving. So it's not to worry. Yay! Woohoo! You're welcome. You're welcome. That was a lot. Really intense, wasn't it? All right. Last words from Archangel Gabriel. That which you set your eye upon, that you wish to accomplish, that you would like to get done, that you would like to take on, do it. Do it. Do it. You know, we seem to have this saying here on earth, life is too short. It's only going to last a certain period of time. So if you feel drawn, if you feel a desire or a craving, or you feel pulled towards doing something or accomplishing something, make it happen. Anything is possible. Do not delay, and do not allow obstacles to stop you from accomplishing what you want to do. And this isn't even outside accomplishments, or sorry, outside obstacles. This is even the obstacles of your own thought forms in your mind telling you that you can't do it. How are you going to do it? I don't have enough money to do it. I don't have enough time to do it. Okay? Those are the obstacles by which they speak of, because many of you will be forced to do things, try new things that you did not think of doing before. Okay, so this is all new, and you're thinking, "Holy smokes!" And it could be in a variety of different ways. Okay, but you will be forced. Just like the coal turning into a multifaceted diamond. The pressure on the coal is going to force it to move in that direction. And with some of you, it is already in alignment. Your soul has agreed upon these transitions here on earth. Your soul has agreed to these obstacles, these pressures. So make the best of it. Go forth, dear ones. Go forth. Thanks, everyone. See you next Friday with me and Dee. I can't wait. It's going to be awesome. You guys, if you want to sign up for the Mediumship for Beginners course, it's starting December 1st until the 14th. It's been 7 months since I put this puppy on. So let's do it. Let's have some fun. And if you want to sign up, you can go to KristinDaviesMedium.com. Love you guys. Bye.